Hey, how is everyone? I can see some of the people, but if people want to turn their cameras on, it'll be as if we're all together in Toronto and actually doing the meeting like we used to before we had this technology called Zoom. More people are trickling in, so I'm going to start really slowly and not say anything of substance for the first minute or two, if that works with everyone. Um, so it's been a good year for the research methods community. Uh, this is and we want to thank Janae and welcome her to SMS. I know it's very difficult to herd cats, which is what it's like to work with all of us. And thank you for doing that. Uh, so on the agenda, I'm going to give an overview, a quick leadership update, any announcements and stuff like that. We're going to go over the conference program, obviously for 2023. And then in the end, if there's any conference or any questions or suggestions, we should have plenty of time to go over that. Okay. Okay, so just as a reminder, the research method community has a mission statement, and it is this: we serve as a forum in which SMS members can come together and improve their understanding of all aspects of research methodology. The community is inclusive and open to all methodological approaches, including quantitative and qualitative, and I should add historical. Maybe we should change this. Topics of interest include the philosophy of science, epistemology, experimental and non-experimental design, survey research, ethnography, measurement, development and evaluation, construct validation, modeling, and any other methodological topic that advances research practices within SMS. RMC is integrated and with contact with all SMS interest groups. And this simply reflects the nature of the problems we study, that we need a very broad set of tools and toolkits to try to push the field forward. Our goals are to advance research methods and serve as a resource for members to advance and apply their own methodological skills, address research methods related needs of SMS members, be a forum for our members, provide time pre-conference to train and to think about specific methods for interested members, include sessions that are aligned with the goals of the research methods community in the annual conference program, and offer assistance outside of the annual conference. Okay, so as a leadership update, I just want to remind you of our current leadership team, which is me. I'm the chair. Anne has organized our SMS program for this year, and Cheryl and the PhD consortium. And then Cheryl has worked on all the pre-conference activities as associate program chair. We have 6 reps at large. I think most of them are here on this call. We have our 2024 batch, which really means that they will serve through the next year, is Sadina Pillai from Bocconi, Zian Wu from Erasmus, and Minyoung Kim from Kansas. And then the folks rotating off this year, 3 more good months of service. Are Valentina Asanova, Elena Plaksenkova. That's so much fun to say those 2 names together. Can I just say that? I don't know if that's official policy, but I really enjoyed that. And Wei Ting Zheng, who I believe is not here because it's the middle of the night for her. So we're set into different positions and responsibilities, though in a way I think many of our reps at large have assisted the leadership across the board. So while we have these labels, I think it understates the effort that our reps at large have put in. And so here they are. And I will say, as leader and throughout my own leadership position, I've tried to look for ways to expand the activities, or at least the reach of the types of questions that we address within the research methods community. That's it. Oh, and then most importantly, we all these positions, of course, are rotating just like everywhere else in SMS. And so if you are interested or know if somebody want to nominate somebody to be a rep at large, or start the leadership track as associate program chair, please contact me. We'll have at least 2 candidates for associate program chair and 6 candidates for rep at large. And you know, we've been thinking about expanding, creating a RMC advisory board and have student reps. We haven't done that. We have not implemented that this year, but if you're interested in those sorts of activities, please contact me. Okay. All right, I guess we go to Cheryl, who just joined. I see her now. Cheryl, can you fill us in and take us through the pre-conference programs, and I'll click for you.
Yeah, are you can everyone hear me okay?
Yeah.
Great. Yeah, so we have a really exciting weekend set of programs this year, so I'm quite excited. So the overview is on this slide. If we go to the next slide, we've got 2 Saturday workshops and several Sunday sessions. So the first Saturday workshop was organized by Sandeep, and it's on Saturday morning, Facts, Papers, and the Future of Strategy Research. So we've got lots of great panelists on this, including our very own Brent, as well as a bunch of other people who are really very senior scholars in the field. So I think that's going to be an exciting one. Next slide, please. And then the second Saturday workshop is on studying emerging technologies. And this one we co-sponsored with several other research groups, so interest groups, so with entrepreneurship and strategy, as well as knowledge and innovation. One of the things that I think is really interesting is the opportunity to co-sponsor some of these sessions. And I think it really facilitates a lot of dialogue across the different communities and interest groups. So this one also looks like a really interesting session with some great panelists and discussants. I don't know if the workshop organizers, if Sandeep, if you want to say anything. And then on this one, Z, if you want to say anything. I don't know if they're on the call or not.
I am. No, I mean, the other workshop, yes, the facts paper one. The point of this is going to be about how to present facts papers. So it's going to be there's a bit of a discussion about how do we present. If we don't use the hypodeductive model, then how do you write a paper? This is the whole point of the workshop, is to kind of really take that question head on. And we're going to get all these chief editors of the big journals to kind of present their viewpoint. It's going to open with Brent doing a little bit of a philosophy of science introduction to the problem of writing, and then we're going to have the editors give their perspective, and then in the second half of the workshop it's going to be roundtables. We have about 24 people registered for the roundtables with the editors to get feedback for their own research. Thank you.
Great, thanks, Sandeep. And then on the second workshop, I don't know if Z is on the call, if he wants to say anything.
Yes, sure. I'm also on the call. So this workshop is actually mainly led by Florence, and we have 2 sessions. The first one is the plenary session, and the second is the roundtable session. we have about 20 kind of proposals already submitted, and yeah, we are currently in the stage of assigning kind of discussion to different proposal kind of writers. So yeah, that's it.
Great, thank you. So then Brent, if you want to go to the next slide. So then on the Sunday sessions, I believe we have 4 different, Sunday is when the interest group and community sessions are. And the idea of these is that they should be kind of broadly appealing and also ideally tap into both senior and junior scholars in our field. So we have a session on Sunday morning, bright and early at 8 a.m. Celebrating or reflecting on it's been 25 years actually since Miles Shaver wrote a seminal paper in strategy about endogeneity. And I think now we think about endogeneity so intuitively and in so many different ways, but at the time it was a very path-breaking paper. And so the idea of this panel, which has a lot of great people on it, is to reflect both on the progress we've made and also just kind of thinking about some future directions. So it's really a great example, I think, of how research methodology as a community can really kind of speak to strategy questions across the different interest groups and areas. Second slide, please. Next slide. So then following our session at 8 o'clock, we then have actually 2 sessions in the 9:30 slot. So we have a session on regular contributions using historical methods to improve inference and strategy research. And this one, again, was jointly sponsored with Competitive Strategy. So I think the whole process of joint sponsorships is really productive. And I thought that was a really important part of the process of putting together a slate of topics. So this one has a number of scholars who will be reflecting on the use of historical methods, and the session leader there will be Sandeep. Next slide, please. And then the second session we have in the 9:30 slot is Frontiers in Research Methodology. So this is a session that we've run in one form or another the last several years, and it's always been very popular. And the idea here is to have we have 4 different scholars all discussing different sort of frontier pushing research methodologies, so different types of matching and machine learning and other approaches. So that should be an exciting session. Next slide, please. So then after following up those sessions, we then have a session on registry data in strategic management research, opportunities, challenges, and insights using national registers. So this session is a session that is also jointly sponsored with several interest groups. And the idea here is to think about the opportunities and limitations in registry data. So we have 4 different panelists who use different national settings, different research questions, and some different methodologies. We had originally put this in as a workshop proposal. It didn't go through as a workshop, but it did. It was accepted. Then we kind of reformatted it and reworked it a little, and we're able to get it in as a really cool panel. Next slide. Is there one more, or this might be the last one? Nope, that's the last one.
I think yeah. I think we're gonna thank you, Cheryl. For what it's worth, this is complete commentary. I still, instead of frontiers, it used to be latest and greatest. Kind of like that better. It has more of a ring.
Yeah, we could do that for next year. Whoever's
Yeah.
associate program chair for next year.
Yeah, well, that's your call. But yeah, so Anne, please take it away.
Yes, thank you, Brent. And thank you, Cheryl. I mean, you will see that the program is actually lighter than the weekend program. So it's very clear that I've worked a lot less than Cheryl and the reps at large that put the program together for the weekend. They've been very entrepreneurial and came up with very, very cool sessions where, on my end, I relied on what was submitted. So that was a little bit easier. And also as well, how many slots were allocated, which of course is not our decision. So we received 24 submissions in total, and each of them received 2 or 3 reviews from 23 reviewers. I think 90% of them are on this call. So thank you, because again, that was your work rather than mine. I received very helpful reviews that made my work super easy. And in the end, I had to put the papers and panels into 4 sessions, and specifically one was a panel session, and then the others had to be split between papers and common ground. And so I ended up having putting together 2 paper sessions and 1 common ground session. So this is what we have. I think we had three slots last year. We're up to 4. So, you know, let's see, maybe next year we get to have 5 and we can do even more things, but that's what we have for this year. So you can move, Brent. And so the first one I'm going to, just shortly show to you, and you'll see them on the program, are the paper sessions. One is on Sunday, one is on Monday. And so the first one is on replication and causality. And these are really like research methods papers that do exactly that, look at replication and look at causality. So the first one, unleashing the untapped potential, maximizing the impact of difference in difference method in strategic management research by Xiaojing Wang and Longzhu Wang. Second one, the use of match samples in strategic management research, review and recommendation by Donberg and colleagues. Confidence interval-based replication methodology, empirical illustration via the beneficial entrenchment hypothesis, again, Donberg with another set of colleagues. Trade secret protection and foreign acquirer engagement, Christoph Grimpe, Katrin Husinger, Marta Arayabi. I don't know if she's on this call. If so, I'm sorry for butchering her name. And then Donberg will be the session leader, because I felt like having 2 papers kind of bring that responsibility onto him to lead the session. So that's the first one. The second one on the next slide is another paper session on Monday. Brent, you can move to the next one. Okay, so this one on topic modeling and machine learning, it has 3 papers, 2 that were submitted to our track and 1 that we inherited from another track, but that's actually a good match because it really does use topic modeling type of methods. And so the first one is called Manager-Oriented Competition Network, a machine learning approach. I think that's the one that was submitted to a different track by Tian Han. Second one, the use of causal forest in theory building and testing an example. Florian Elsässer, Markus Pfizer, Matthew Semadini. And then to conform or be unique, exploring the influence of analysis on firm strategy, Mehdi Samimi and colleagues. And this time, Matthew Semadini will be the leader of the session. And then finally, we have one, in terms of papers, we have one common ground session, which is the next one. In case you don't know, these are more papers, and typically the authors, their co-authors come, there's less of an audience because it's more of a discussion between people, and you're supposed to bring in like the abstract to share with the audience potentially, but the other people that sit around the table. So that can actually be very nice and useful as a session. I had a very good one, for example, in my end last year. And so this one is a bit more, I have to admit, those papers that we wanted to have in the program, but it was less clear where they would fit. So we put them together. So it's a little bit more heterogeneous. So I'll let you read all these very nice titles, and Sarah Wolfels, who's on the call, is going to chair this session for us. I'm sure she'll do a great job making sure everybody gets something out of the session. So that's it for the papers. And then the last one that we have is a panel session. So if you can move, Brent, perfect, on writing with research methods papers, how to identify methodological contribution. And I think that's very complementary to the weekend program that we saw. That's a follow-up, if I understand correctly, to a panel that happened already last year, but that was more about writing research methods papers in general. And I guess they identify a need to focus more specifically on the methodological contribution, which I guess makes a lot of sense. Try to understand when a paper is actually a methodological paper or paper that has a methodological contribution. So you can see the name of our amazing panelists here. Again, the same set of people got together last year on this first session. And so they're going to follow up on this discussion, which in what I think promises to be a great session as well. So that's it for the program. So only 4, so you have the possibility to go to all of them. So that's a good thing. And then the other thing I want to share information on is the doctoral student and junior faculty consortium that we put together. And I want, to give a big shout out to Elena Plexenkova, because we did this together and she did a large chunk of the work. So I'm sorry that, my slides are not very good looking. I didn't put small pictures there. If I did, there would be a big picture of Elena on this slide. And so this is a format that was introduced by Brent last year, and that works super well. So we thought, okay, let's redo it this year, do it virtually, a little bit separate from the conference to make sure people can attend, they have the availability, they don't need to be in person at the conference necessarily to benefit from this. And it's targeted in priority, let's say, to doctoral students and junior faculty. We also had more senior faculty joining, and of course, that's not a problem. And these are focused on specific topics. And so each year, the associate program chair, so that will be Cheryl next year, program chair, sorry. So Cheryl next year gets to kind of decide or propose some topics that can be the focus. And so this year we had approximately 100 participants. We had them all on the same week, just because for availability of the speakers, we ended up having two really like one day and the next. So we asked the other speakers whether we could have them on the same week as well, so that we could really have this 1 week dedicated to this. And I think that worked well. Many of the participants actually showed up to at least 2 of these, which suggests that this is potentially a good thing to have them close to each other. Let's see how we do that next year. And so, Brent, if you can move to the next one, the 3 topics that we picked this year were NLP and machine learning was the first one, with Raj Choudhury from HBS, Ariana Marchetti from INSEAD, Maciej Łąkiewicz from ESSEC. Then we had two-sided matching with Florence Honoré from Wisconsin-Madison, Denisa Mindruta from HEC Paris, Ori Shelev from University of Utah. And then the other one was formal models with Olivier Chatin from HEC Paris, Richard McAdoo, Ohio State, and Claudio Panico from Bocconi. And so that's it. I think they were very, very well received, good attendance. People were excited about what they took away from the session. So we're hoping to do something similar or even better, certainly next year. So there will be an announcement somewhere in January. I'm sure Cheryl will do a better job than me in launching that a little bit earlier next year. And that's it for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Anne. What a great program. Okay, so that's the we don't have any other formal announcements to make, but we did want to use this time and open up the floor for any comments, suggestions, questions, anything at all, and feel free to raise your hand. It's not a huge meeting, or put your comment in the chat if you're more comfortable doing that. Really? No one has anything to say? I can't believe we're doing such a great job that nobody has a comment. Going once.
I think Gwen has a question, Brent.
Yeah, there's a couple things in the chat, Brent.
Oh. Yeah. So the question is, how should we use Member Circle to improve, facilitate asking experts sessions? So I think that's really a suggestion, Gwen, as opposed to a question. Is that a suggestion? Yeah, I think that's a suggestion.
No,
well,
but maybe I can bring this sort of a larger context, right? So Member Circle is behind the paywall and is different from other means of getting technical help. And it's interesting to see how like Stack Overflow now feels like being threatened, because then their expertise is being extracted by the large language models. And so that's why this is, just a question to see in what way the expertise from the sharing during these sessions can be preserved digitally, but then also organized better to help people who were not able to attend. That's sort of the larger thinking.
Now that's interesting. So I guess you're suggesting, so let me throw it back at you. So, or let me repeat what you said in my words so I can see if I understand. So you're suggesting that so you're basically saying, let's somehow capture these meetings and put them up on the member circle so people can see them afterwards. Obviously, if they're live, I don't think we have the technology to record them. Is that correct or not correct? I don't think we can actually record things in the room. Can we?
So maybe Jonee can confirm whether these sessions can be recorded. We have the technology, don't we?
I would have to double check with Anna on that because she organized all AV, but I can do that and get back to you guys.
Yeah, I guess the alternative. Thank you, Jonee.
Yes.
I guess the alternative might be to have, to post the slides there, or perhaps have someone summarize the sessions, although I don't know how effective that would be.
Yeah, and I'm also curious to hear from Sandeep. Thank you so much for coordinating. And do you hear feedback on how we can preserve or extract knowledge from the experts? It's a one-time delivery. And how can we use that to serve more members?
So the best I've seen, I mean, I'm not having any innovative solutions in my head right now, I must confess, but the best I've seen is perhaps that at CCC, I've seen people do live tweeting. And that is something that seemed to have worked. You reach a wider audience. It's there for people who really want to follow what's going on at SMS with the key points. But then there has to be somebody committed towards sitting there and doing that. But you can't do that for everything that is being said. I think the best way is probably to get the slides and somehow share that with the membership, as part of our newsletter or something, share it as a link to some drive that we store it in. I'm just thinking practically, right?
Well, I think we can share it in the member circle, can't we?
Yes, definitely. The posting is there. But one thing that I have observed, and because, I serve on the membership committee from the board, is that we want to encourage utilization. So then we have this chicken and egg problem. Yes, we post, but that's very passive. And then people have to invest the time to figure out whether the content is worth spending an hour watching. So I have this sort of fanciful thought. I don't know if that is practical, but maybe, look at the excellent programs that just got presented, right? So if we can have some of a continuity, in other words, a subgroup, maybe all on instrumental variables, right? So I'm looking at several of the attendees here, you're experts in instrumental variable. And then would there be an interest, to not only have expert that can teach us about instrumental variable, but then have a forum that can share on the use, sort of more kind of like a quorum, chit chat, expertise sharing. And so it's a continuous flow rather than, okay, here is one video, go watch it and we'll see you next year.
I think Brent had an Ask the Expert series that...
No. I had an Ask the Expert series idea.
Okay.
It never was actually implemented. But maybe, Gwen, that's an interesting idea. So
yeah,
we can try. I mean, you never know till you try, right? And so I will even I'll start it later this week. I will create a forum, and I did see that anybody who signed up will receive an email at least that this exists, right? So we'll create an Ask the Expert forum, and I'll invite people to ask any question, and we'll try to respond within a couple days. Or find somebody who can respond within a couple of days, because I'm quite certain that, you know, I'm not competent to respond to all questions and all methods and whatnot, you know. But you're right to try to push it. And for what it's worth, I know Sandeep, you're off Twitter at this point. And then I just cancel my account because I can't deal with Musk anti-Semitism. So
Yeah, it's called X for deletion.
yeah, I love that. So let's give it a shot. It's a great suggestion. We got to try it. Thanks for, pushing us.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else?
Sorry, Brent, this is a simple clarification question. The rep at large term is for 2 years? Is that?
Years, yes.
Okay, just to be clear, I just want to.
Sandeep, you're stuck for another year.
No, I mean, helps me plan. Helps me plan. That's all.
Did we lie to you, Sandeep, to get you on board?
No. I was just. It was just like I wasn't sure what. I wasn't sure what the story was, so I just want. I'm learning as I go, but I just want to plan.
Yeah, and you did so much this year that we expect at least as much for next year for sure.
And
Actually, we expect twice as much in the second year.
Exactly. It's an escalating commitment. Okay, so let's with that in mind, let's have put into the comment list things that we're gonna not ask Sandeep to do next year. Okay, are there other suggestions?
There was one other clarification question in the chat from Dalal. It just said, so the program must be in person. And so I could just respond in the chat, but yes, the program's in person, correct?
Yeah, my best, Gwen, you would know this. But there's no hybrid component to SMS this year, is there?
No, there is not. But the board is planning virtual conferences as a special way of organizing. And we're actually taking your model, the way how you have intensive, 3-day, this powwow session, and it's virtual and it's really helping our junior scholars. So I think there is that demand for virtual. And then so we are also planning virtual conferences. But that's not to replace the in-person. I think people like to, network, like to have the face-to-face interaction. And I really see the research methods community coming up with innovative ways throughout the year to engage our members. So thank you. Thank you all.
Okay. Well, with that, I guess I will close the meeting and thank everybody for coming. I know the meeting was scheduled until noon, so feel free to stay in the space and just kind of stare for the next 25 minutes or move on to your next activity.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
See you in Toronto.
Bye, thanks.
Yeah,
Look forward
see ya,
to seeing
bye.
everyone. Bye.